Greetings, everyone. I apologize for the mess behind me, but I wasn't expecting to do this today. Matter of fact, I was getting ready to do a Fancy Pants unboxing, but this is going to be a little bit different. And to give you a quick backstory, I ordered a 2020 Gibson Les Paul 60s Standard off of a gentleman on Reverb. I won't say his name. That's probably not really that important for what we're going to discuss today. And I received the item in the mail, and quite frankly, I'm just shocked and horrified. I'm absolutely shocked and horrified by what I received in the mail. Let's take a look. So, as you can see here, my several $1,000 Gibson Les Paul came wrapped in craft paper. It came wrapped in craft paper, if you can believe that. Wrapped in craft paper. And some bullcrap bubble wrap. Wrapped in craft paper. So yeah, wrapped in craft paper. That's what happened. So I'm going to take a quick photograph or two because, as most of you are aware, an instrument wrapped in craft paper, should something bad happen to it, there's no recourse. There's nothing anybody can do. Oh, well, there's something I can do, but there's nothing the seller could do. If this were damaged, and it might be damaged, we're going to have to take a look. If it were lost, if nothing arrived at my house but this little piece of craft paper, the seller's SOL. There's nothing that he could do about it. Because if these things aren't double boxed, when you don't double box your items, you have legally signed away your rights for any recourse. You can't go to UPS and say, hey, you guys broke my stuff, because you know what? You didn't double box it. So they're not gonna honor any type of insurance. And by the way, they'll sell you insurance on it, and they just have you sign a little thing underneath that says if the item's not double boxed, well, the insurance is just worthless, basically. It's absolutely worthless. Look at all the stickers on this thing. This thing traveled all over the place, wrapped in nothing but some craft paper. Could you imagine if this part had just torn off with my address on it somewhere in UPS? And I should tell you, years ago when I was in college, I worked at UPS, to help pay my bills as a college student. And we had an entire conveyor belt just dedicated to things that had lost their addresses or boxes that had spilled open. And it was like that episode of I Love Lucy when she's in that factory with all the chocolates and she just ends up stuffing them in their mouth. That's kind of how I felt. I would just watch this stuff come pouring down a conveyor belt full of lost and just lost and missing items, and it was all day long. Why? Because people don't properly package their items. And quite frankly, and as I talk, I'm going to start opening this. I blame Reverb. I blame Reverb for this. If Reverb is going to allow the public to sell things on their platform, the least they can do, the very least they can do is inform these people that it's not all fun and games. It's not all super easy. Oh, look at you. You sold some stuff and made some money. There is a little bit of work involved in this, that you have to, take some time and package, the $2,000 guitar with some care so that it gets to its destination. And this isn't me being a dick to anybody, because quite frankly, if this thing's broken to pieces, it's just going right back. It's going right back. And the seller's out of luck. The seller is out of luck because I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay a penny for it. The seller is going to have to eat everything. And then the seller's going to think, oh, but I paid for some insurance. Well, good luck. Good luck collecting your insurance when everyone sees that you wrap the box in craft paper, and let me tell you, this little bubbly wrap right here, that doesn't do any good. It really doesn't. And I should also backtrack and explain, you know, I own a small, tiny company called Black Box Analog Design. And I've had to ship things around the world, you know, going on over a decade now. And I had to learn the hard way a few times that even though my boxes, you know, even though the face plates are a 1/4 inch of solid aluminum and the boxes are made of steel and things are surrounded by styrofoam and double boxed with even more styrofoam, things still get destroyed in shipping. At least, though, because we've packaged it right. And trust me, we had to work with the carriers to come up with a packaging that they found acceptable and that they would ensure, and all of these wonderful things that we had to do to make the carriers happy, so that we knew if there was ever an issue that we wouldn't have a problem. But Reverb doesn't do that. And I fault Reverb. I 100% fault them for not telling the people that are shipping things, you know, they should get a checklist. You know, like before you can collect your money or before you can do anything, as you're getting the item out, there should be a checklist that you have to agree to. You know, like, did I include everything that I promised I was going to include when I sold it? Well, yes. Is the item double boxed? You know, double packed? No? Well, then you can't go forward. And if you agree that it is and something goes wrong, then you forfeit all your money. That's how it should be. But unfortunately, it isn't that way. Reverb, I don't see Reverb going out of their way at all to educate anybody as how to package things. And this isn't like, I've never seen something like this happen before. Of course I haven't. That's why I'm so sensitive to it. I've seen these things happen. I've seen where it happens. And then everybody cries, everybody's upset when the item's broken and they don't get their money. Then they're sad. And now they're upset because they didn't spend the extra $10 or $15 or the extra 10 or 15 minutes to make sure it was right. Instead, they just wrapped it in craft paper and sent it across the country thinking that everything is going to be fine. I'm actually shocked by it. I'm absolutely shocked by it. Really, Reverb ought to do something. You know, I know Etsy owns them now, and, you know, it's a different vibe, but you know what? They raised their rates. They definitely couldn't wait to raise their rates. So maybe they should take a little time and see what's up. Well, let's see if this thing took any damage or not. Let's have a look at that. Oh, you can't see. You know what? Let me get a neck rest for my instrument. Well, it's not mine yet. It won't be mine until I see how well it's survived its journey. So let me set this down for a minute. And let's have a look. Well, it looks like we're in luck today. It looks like we're in luck today. And it doesn't appear to be damaged. I guess I'm just going to have to, you know, tear into it, see how things are, give it a proper setup, and do stuff like that. But I just wanted you guys to see this because I didn't know what was gonna come out of it. And And quite frankly, down there in the comments, if you've ever had something like this happen to you, tell me about it. I mean, maybe I'm the only one that this ever happens to, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I think there's a bunch of clowns running around that don't know how to put things in the mail. And, I mean, could you imagine this guy if this thing would have just, instead of the box, just a piece of paper came and said, well, I mean, here's your, piece of paper with an address on it. The rest of it, we don't know where it is. Maybe it's on one of those conveyor belts I talked about earlier, just being spilled into a warehouse, like an episode of I Love Lucy. Maybe that's where it's at. Good luck. This guy would have been out every penny he ever spent. He would have been out every penny he ever spent. I'm going to leave you with that. I'm just going to leave it with that right there. I'm just going to walk over there and turn my camera off and leave it at that. So I appreciate you taking the time to look at me. I didn't have time to comb my hair today. That's why I'm wearing a hat or to put on clean clothes. I wasn't, I was expecting to do a real, unboxing tomorrow in a setup space, and I was going to talk about all the marvelous features on this guitar. But when it arrived the way it did, I immediately I just went right to 10 or 11 if we're doing Spinal Tap. I went all the way to 11, and I was not at all thrilled about it.